Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, March.
Can't get the music off, huh?
Welcome, March. Welcome, March. Welcome, March.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because we got started February 1, right? So we've been back for about a month or a month.
Yes. Yes.
Good to see you. You look.
Same here.
What time is it there? Because it looks sunny.
It is 5 p.m. on the dot. 5 p.m. and you're 12, right?
Yes, I am 12.
You
I
are
am 12,
12.
12 and 5. So is that sunshine or is that lighting that we got going on?
That sunshine, that is the ultimate sunshine. And you would see because the grass has burned. So it's pretty brown. So what you're seeing, there's the sun reflecting on brown grass. But it will start to go down, and then you will start to see, trees swaying in there. So I'm so happy I'm outside. It's breezy.
I like that. I was going to ask. I was like, if the sun's so intense and you're in it, then that must be. But
Oh
yeah,
no,
it's a nice
I
time of
have
the
a
day.
nice. I'm in front of the garage here, so there's an overhang that's blocking that. You just might hear roosters. So there's one rooster in the yard, and then there are others around. So I call him Clucky. Clucky has 3 hens, and he's working.
Oh, okay. Clucky's busy clucking.
Like 20 eggs, 20 eggs down, and she is
Between three
sitting.
roosters or three
Yes,
chickens?
three hens, 2 hens rather, because one is pretty young now. She's not into dropping any eggs yet, but he's doing his thing, and 20 eggs. I'm excited.
Well, you could check some of those eggs and see if there's little peepers in them. Like you could have a
That's and
larger
that,
menagerie.
that's the plan. That
There
is
you
the plan. That is the plan.
go. Good
But
plan.
hey, that thank you, Tracy. How are you doing today?
Oh, doing well, Wulwyn. It's good to see you. I know our 2 weeks go so fast. Oh, I mean, not
Um,
not to mention the fact this last month went so fast. I'm like, I can't believe we're in March already. But
It's
it's good. It's good. A lot
yeah.
has been going on, but it's good. How are things? How are
Talking
things with you?
Tracy.
Are you still
Things
losing
are
power?
so. Is that a leading question?
Yeah, I had a little back. I had a
uh,
little back information on that one.
well, so yeah, so I'm running on 100% battery right now. I have 3/4 of the battery full. The Wi-Fi, I really don't know, but I have backups. I have a phone that's ready in case this goes down. But it's what it is, right? The power issue here, it's uh, much more to be desired, if I may say, right? But
Yeah.
it should be, will be pretty good. I'm trying to something's baffling me right now, Tracy, but I'm gonna
Hmm.
get it. I am looking to share the. Uh, can you hear that? the music.
Mhm. Yeah, is that your neighbor? They decided, oh,
No,
Wulwyn's outside. We're gonna go outside.
this is just how it is here in terms of marketing. So to put these speakers that are supposed to be on, and I'm in Monrovia, Liberia. For those of you who don't know, Monrovia, Liberia, West Africa, they have these 10-foot trucks, 10-wheeler trucks rather, with the platform, something that would carry a 40-foot container, and we'll put these speakers that are roughly about maybe 6 feet tall on all four sides. There's a DJ in it. There are dancers on it, and whatever products they are marketing, they are singing, rapping, music's loud, and they come and sometimes just stop right in front of the yard. And it is, ugh.
Wow.
So
That's like
yeah,
Mardi. That's like Mardi Gras, got together with an ice cream truck.
there. Oh my goodness, what a way to put it.
You're kind of like drawn to it, but then you're like, oh, like I just remember growing
Uh,
up, ice cream trucks. I mean, like you want to go, but they'd go by every. It seemed like every hour on the hour in the summertime, and it was yeah.
mhm, mhm,
They know where the
mhm.
kids are. They
So
know where the people are.
they know, and we would go when we were trying to settle in, and as soon as the always some kind of loud and catchy tune for the kids would just get up and go ice
Mhm.
cream. Like, okay.
Great.
Ah,
Yeah. So we
but
just
what's
well, you
going
know
on
what
in
this
your
all
life?
reminds me of? This all
What?
reminds me of a conversation I was having with a client yesterday about the
Uh,
unknown. And she said, I'm reading two different books. I'm reading The Knowing by
uh-huh.
Wayne Dyer. I don't know if you know who Wayne Dyer was, but Wayne Dyer's two daughters, I believe, wrote this book, The
Oh,
Knowing. And
okay.
she says, and I'm also reading this book, The Wisdom of Not Knowing. Right. And she's bookending herself between these two, concepts. But we're in such a time of uncertainty. I mean, we have been. I mean, really, let's be real. Like it's always
Yes.
uncertainty. If we
Yes.
thought we were ever certain, we're realizing that's a story we need to
Mm-mm.
think about. But there's so much
Correct.
uncertainty, and what do we do? What do we do in that time? Do we freak out? Do we try to control things even more to try to gain some sort of certainty in all of the
Mm,
uncertain, senses that we're kind of experiencing? Or do we start to kind of roll with it? And that was what the conversation was, is that she says, what I'm
gotcha.
really finding that listening to, what you think and then the value and actually the discovery process in not knowing. I mean, I said to her, I go, yeah, what I'm thinking is like, if we knew everything, how boring life would be.
Yes.
Like if
Yes.
everything
Yes.
was certain,
Mm-mm.
like
Mm-mm.
just think about that, that how, it really, it would take a lot of the juice out of life. And so
Yes.
how
I
do
don't.
we manage the gift in uncertainty so that it truly can be a gift and it doesn't become a hindrance?
Yes. 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 I knowing everything. Nah, that's God power. I don't. I don't want. I think the and you said it. I think the essence of I think one thing that makes life worth living is hope, right?
Mhm.
Hoping that something's going to happen, hoping that, and you're working towards an expected end, and you're joyful 100%. If it hits 100% and you get it, you are, if it hits 50, 25, zero, you go back to the drawing table, the drawing board, and recreate. And that's the beauty of our minds, working and making things happen. Knowing it all, and then the other end, not knowing. Whew,
Mhm. Yeah, especially
I
when
think
there's
it's
so much big change. You know, there's one thing just not to know. Like, I don't know what's going to happen, right? Tomorrow, or like I've
Correct.
asked this question and they're still, I'm waiting for them to get back to me. I don't know what's going to happen. But it's another
Yeah.
thing when there's so much unraveling and dismantling going on, which is what we were talking about last time. That level of unknowing, like, where is it going to affect potentially me? You know,
Mm,
where's it going to affect the ones I love? Where is it, you know, we just, again, COVID itself was a big, huge unknown. And it is just
yes.
kind of ramped up this, you know, what's followed has just been, I mean, to me, it's an awakening. I mean, I always talk in these terms, right? It's an awakening to what has been going on already.
Yep.
It's none of this is new. There's been, you know, all of the stuff that is supposedly coming out and people realizing, or like, oh my gosh, this is really, it's been going on. It's just,
Mm,
we had this kind of, we were lulled into this false sense of thinking we knew, who knows? I mean, there's a lot of different levels to that, you know, which I'm not going to unpeel
correct.
at this point. But
Correct.
you know,
Correct.
where we are now is really the truth in all of it, right?
Hmm.
It isn't just a discovery of like, holy cow, this just started, or you know, how did this happen, or God, this is something that, you know, I just learned about somebody I thought I knew for years and years. You know, whatever it is, it has always been a part of that. If that's something that you just learned about someone you've known for a long time that you thought you knew, but then you found out
Yeah.
something that you're like, whoa, that changes everything. That has been within that person the entire time. It's
Correct.
been going on with that person
Correct.
the whole time, right?
Ooh.
You just didn't know it. That's the only difference. It's actually nothing changed with them. It's just that you're seeing them in a different light and now needing to make different decisions based on the new information.
Ooh. Can I jump off something?
Yeah.
There's a piece that I want to just go off on. And I think that the piece where you said it's been there all the time, but you didn't know. Uh, there's when we talked about this last time, the human nature of not coming in 100% and saying, hey, I'm going to stay away from the party because I'm not at 100. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I don't want to bring your party down. There's that piece that in our, I would say, second nature that could have picked up that thing of you didn't know, but you picked it up, and it comes across like this, Tracy. You know what? I knew something was wrong. I just knew I knew something was wrong, but I couldn't put my finger on it, right? So what I'm doing in 2023 is so so I was brushing my teeth uh 2 nights ago, and I put the toothbrush back in the cup, opened the door, and as the door swung, it hit the roll on. The roll on fell. When it fell, I went, hmm. When I went to pick up the roll on, I just said to myself, I said, there's a reason this roll on fell where it fell. Let me pause for a second and look at this level and study for a second. So I went down and looked, see if the toilet was dripping, looked to see if something, nothing. Okay, picked it up and put it back. That, what I modeled is when I am engaging someone and something comes up that we easily just brush over and go, that's nothing. I will pause in 2023 and go, what does this signify when it's blown up 2, 3, 4 months from now? What does that look like 4 months from now that this person just did? If it's they invite you to their office or whatever, and when you come and sit down, they get on their phone and go, yeah, and ignore you for a second. Oh, I'm sorry. What does that look like 6 months from now? Am I going to be ignored at a larger level or something that I'm not expecting from them, but they've already shown me that they're not 100% focused on me when I am there? Because I'm not needy like that. But when we're here, if somebody knocks on my door right now, comes to the gate, I'm here with Tracy. right? So, to conclude this piece of what I'm saying is, when things happen, when things show you, when things want to come out in infancy or embryonic stages, and you're sitting there going, not noticing, start to observe and see where it goes. Most times you get to know.
That piece right there was gold, Wulwyn. I mean, when you talked about like thinking about why did this just happen and let me actually open all of my senses. I mean, that's what we talk about when I talk about my four, my three levels of intelligence,
Gotcha.
head, heart, and gut, and becoming a more whole-brained decision
Mm,
maker. That's it. It's like our head
yes.
brain is always geared to what we've been conditioned to pay attention to, right? The information
Mm,
we've been conditioned to pay attention to, but our heart and our gut brains are actively picking up other information. But when we're just
correct.
tuned in on this one brain and the information it's gathering, we
Mm.
potentially, in that pause, I mean, there is so much power in the pause, so much power in the pause.
I love that.
I mean, we can lengthen and like you lengthen that time out, like look at the toilet to see if it's dripping, like, like really taking your surroundings from that vantage point,
Yes.
because those are the gifts that are like literally dropping in all the time, is that
Mhm.
opportunity to say, what am I feeling? What am I sensing? And one of my clients who have been working a lot with this work, she called me the other day and she was like, I just need to run something by you that I'm really having a hard time translating. And
Mhm.
what was really cool about listening to her is she wasn't talking from a place. She goes, so what's bothering me is this thing I'm feeling. And I
Mm.
just can't seem to translate the feeling, as opposed
Yeah.
to I'm thinking and I'm trying to figure out how that I mean, I don't think I've ever heard her. She certainly has never called me and said, I need help translating this vital information that I know is valid,
Yeah.
into something that I can work with. And I mean, that was such a huge pivotal moment because again, we're not taught, we're not trained, we're not shown how
Mm.
to do this. Not in
Mm.
I talk about our culture. I mean, there's so many different cultures in the United States, at least. They're not. I
Correct.
mean, you go in some of these tribal, communities that it's all about that. It's all about
Yes.
paying attention to, and it's about the instincts, which is an intelligence. Nobody talks about it in terms of intelligence. It's an
Mm.
intelligence. It's a very strong
Yeah.
intelligence, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
if we're not, one, paying attention, and two, taking the time to translate what we're noticing, to your point, where we are right now, we can access the lay of the land of our lives and say everything we're experiencing right now is a culmination of decisions and positions we've put ourselves in the past.
Can I pick up this mic and drop it for you?
No, no, don't break your mic.
No, but I'm gonna just get one old mic, a broken one, just go.
There you go.
Yes, yes, yes. A culmination of every single decision we've made. So when we, and you know what I noticed, Tracy, and those of you who are coming in, please, 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 please comment. Only the chickens, only the rooster is crowing in the
Our cupboard
background.
is empty. We need to talk
Come
more.
on,
Hi, y'all.
when you were talking. I know. Hey, so if you're on there, just make a comment where you are listening from, yeah, what we're talking about. Just bring us in. Okay. So where was I?
So you're talking about the culmination, the past decisions, and
That we've made.
mhm.
So we are, when you can become sensitized, right? I mean, highly
Mhm.
sensitized to, or sensitive to why did I choose to sit outside today? Yeah, no power, light, air. But is there something bigger? Is there a reason why? Is there somebody who's
Mhm.
going to come and look and see the background and go, "Oh, I needed to see sunshine," or just something. And it's never. Sometimes it's not about. We're just the conduit
Yeah.
for that other person to experience the decision that we made that seems so meh or so unimportant to us. So when we become sensitive to our actions, when we become sensitive to saying, why did this happen? Now that you said, based on the past decisions, we've come here. So now I become sensitive to current decision making so that my
Mhm.
future can change or improve or remain. Because some people would say, I want to stay at this level, status quo is okay. I want to keep it here. But now, when I know I want to improve, I'm looking at my decisions today on what I'm
Mhm.
saying and what I'm doing so that tomorrow I can benchmark and say, wow, it got better. It became better. Wow.
I love that.
Tracy.
Well, and what you said about, I was talking to the same client who was telling me about the book she was reading yesterday.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And I said that, we oftentimes are thinking, what can I do for another person? Right? Like, what do I need to do to be a good human being? Or what can I do to help someone out? And I said, what we
Uh-huh.
forget is we're all energy and our energy precedes us. You could sit in a room and do nothing, and your energy is
Mm,
impacting everybody around you. Not only everyone around you, everything, right? If we remember that, and that's why, like, so my assessment tool that I use with clients is called human design, and it's beyond,
mm-hmm.
behavior and personality assessments. It's literally your energetic blueprint, which is how you were designed to create energetically. So, for example, I'm what's called a generator, and generators are literally exactly what it sounds like. They're the ones they generate the energy, to
Gotcha.
create in the world. And, not everybody has the power of generating their own energy. Some people borrow
Mm,
energy from those who generate in order to
yes.
create because that's their design. And we're all designed to work
Yes.
together. That's why it's like that. But I'm a
Mm,
ball of unending energy because I can create my own. I don't need anybody else's
mm,
energy as a generator. But what is
mm, mm,
important is not just that I have the energy. Think about it. Let's talk about energy as money, right? If I had this money, I could just turn on the printing presses and just make as much money. It's not about the money. It's about my decisions on where I spend it. Because if we think
mm,
about what we put our money into, what we put our time into, what we put our energy into, that feeds that thing. So the
mm,
decisions and being discerning is a part of my design. I have to be uber careful about what I pour my energy into because it will grow. And so if I'm putting my energy into people who are no offense, but
oh,
like, you're those people out there deciding you want to be, and I'm like
yep.
trying to help them be better people and they have no intention at that moment to be a better person. They're taking my
No.
energy and they're doing whatever they want to do with it because I'm pouring my energy into them. I may have good intentions. So it kind of puts a spin on this idea of, oh, I just want to help people out. If people don't want to be helped, don't bother. Take that energy and invest it into the things that you see are growing and use your other instincts, your heart, your gut,
Mm,
not just your head, to determine if people are really people, things. I mean, I don't just want to focus on people. If your energy is being invested into the things you want to grow
mm.
or you want to see grow.
Wow. As you were talking, when you talked about it in terms of money, I said, the economics of energy, right?
Yes.
How you supply, how you demand, how you give, how you go to market with it. Because when I heard you say it, all I was thinking about was momentum.
Mhm.
When I engage with you, because I'm the same. I'm a generator. When I get in the room, hey, what's up? Yeah, 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 yeah. Or it's just in, yeah, or encouraging, right? Encouraging
That's
people,
it.
and if you invest in the wrong, as you said, it reminded me, man, this rooster is killing me. And that's the one
He really wants
outside.
to be a part of.
Mine's pretty trained. Coo, 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 coo,
Well, I was
coo.
gonna say he's also making up for the lack of conversation in the chat.
There you go. There you go. I know. I know. But a friend put a post on Facebook yesterday, I believe, and he said, uh, so a lot since the war in Liberia in the 1990, when families dispersed, you had a lot going to the west, and few family members stayed behind. For those who stayed behind, the only way they managed during post-war was monies coming from overseas. So that the war occurred in 1990. We are what, 23, 30 years,
God, is
30
it really?
years removed from it now. Yeah. Uh, and the culture of waiting to receive funding from overseas prevails within certain camps, certain family members, certain individuals. It has prevailed to the point that if you, Tracy, today tell me that you're sending me $10, I would tell you, is that all? Why don't you send me 100? Why don't you send me 200? And the guy said, I will not, he said, if someone is making $2,000 and they send you $100, that's 5% of what they're making, and that's not even 5% because taxes will remove a whole lot, and it's more than 5%. So be grateful. And I replied on there saying, I don't think the person is wrong for coming and telling you is that all, because you have become an enabler. You've become an enabler to this person where or to these people who, they aren't grateful for the economics of your money. So
Mhm.
why are you pouring it in to someone who isn't grateful? Whereas you can keep it and sow it into somewhere where someone is grateful, that they can multiply it. So similar to
Exactly.
what you were saying here in terms of the economics of my energy, you're a generator, and individuals, you have to really be careful who you're giving this to, who you're giving your energy to, who you're spending time with,
Yeah.
right? Because it's so pertinent that when you're sitting down with these individuals, they in the wrong environment, generators lose power.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. And not, I mean, and we know as generators, we have a magnetic pole. So in human design, they talk about other aspects of the design, and we have a magnetic pole. So people are drawn to us because they're drawn to our energy. And but when they talk about energy vampires and all that, I mean, what it really is people who are I'm going to say unintentionally not awakened, not aware, not conscious of the fact that they're just taking. They're needy because they're not meeting their own needs. And so they're being attracted to those that have these bright lights of energy. And they're just like, oh, they won't notice. They have enough. And again, it's all going on unconsciously. And so we
Wow.
can't rely on the other person. Then people get angry. It's like, well, he used me, or she took advantage of me. And it's like, we have to be responsible. Like, it would be like me saying I leave my doors open and somebody comes and takes my money. And it's like, well, but you didn't lock like, you didn't create an
Yes.
environment of protecting that. So yes, I
Wow.
mean, you can blame the person for taking it, but you also kind of have to look at your own home and say, I mean, I would say guarded. I don't like that word, but how much are you really putting into ensuring that what you have to give is being protected, right? You're making the decisions on
Wow.
where it should go, but also that, not just anyone can waltz in, and we can still do that with an open heart. We don't have to be hateful. We don't have to be distrusting. We could just sense it and be like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
That's not what I want to
Yeah.
vote for. I don't want to give that my energy.
Wow. Wow. So for those of you who are just joining, today is March 1st. I know you know that, but hey, just wanted to say it. uh, we
We
are
have to
we
go with
are we're intercontinental. I'm in West Africa, and Tracy is in.
I am in North Carolina within the
There
United
you
States.
go. United States of America. But we're talking today on knowing and unknowing. The conversation has segued into economics of energy, and how to truly protect where you sit, who you sit with, how you sit. Because, and as I'm saying this, Tracy, and please don't be quiet. Don't be quiet. Please say, have your say. Tracy, as I was speaking just now, what hit me was, and you have to you you have to know how much to put out, because some people can't stand the 100% output from you. So you have, just what you're saying, you have to, God has given you this gift. Huh. You are the
Mhm.
custodian, the steward of this thing. As much as we know it's unlimited because it's in you, I need you to think of it as being limited in how you're giving it. Because if I pour into I have an unlimited amount in me, and I have a 10-gallon person who only needs 10 gallons for the day. When I go and put 20 in there, I've really wasted additional 10. So I
You're gonna
think,
drown them.
correct. When God gave us this gift, Tracy, and to all of you, when God gave and just energies and all, and whatever it is, when you were given His gift, a byproduct of His gift is how you use it. It
Mm,
automatically, I truly believe
absolutely.
that you are a custodian of it. So when you go and engage with person X, you are you are engaging first to find out the capacity. In fact, they will give you their capacity. They will give you their capacity with their words. They will give you their capacity with their body language. They will give you their capacity, because how do I know when I'm talking to my son? If I'm talking to my son or someone, there's no eye contact. And then there's fiddling. Even though some people really don't give eye contact and they fiddle,
Mhm,
but
mhm.
there's a collection of things that I can know that you're not ready for the rest of what I'm going to offer here. So when that person is doing this and fidgeting and doing and speaking, and I go, ah, I will become quiet and let them dial back in. Or when they go, oh, you're done. That, or you're done. I'm like, yes, I was. I am done. So custodians, what do you think about that? Being custodians of this thing, and it being a byproduct. As long as you have it, you have that innate nature, that you have that power rather to know who to give it to.
I think it's brilliant. I think what you just said is, and it speaks to human design as well, because for example, if your design as a generator is to generate energy, then you are also, you're not supposed to initiate. So what you're talking about there is this idea of initiating is, oh, I'm going to go take my energy, I'm going to pour it into this person.
Mm,
No, no, no.
mm,
We're not designed to initiate. Manifestors and manifesting generators are designed to initiate. We're designed to respond. So just what you said, within our design, yes, we have all this energy, but we're not designed to just go pouring it in, deciding where we're going to pour it into. We're designed to wait for the things to magnetize to us, to decide using discernment what goes where based on all of the things, the principles and more that you just mentioned.
mm.
And then we dole that out based on what comes to us, not us going out there thinking, because I keep
Steward.
thinking about what my good friend Tony Stevens said. She said, a lot of times when you go pouring into people without being asked, it's a form of criticism. And if you look at it at multiple levels, they didn't ask for your help. Maybe they're trying to do it on their own. It's like you basically saying, you can't do it yourself. I need to help you. So you engage in even saying, oh, have you thought about this? And the person didn't ask for your opinion, or they're not, it's not warranted, or they're not ready. And you use the word ready, whatever. It is taken internally as a form of criticism. Like, I'm not doing this right, or I can't do it by myself, or, I don't have the capacity, or whatever. And we may not always think about it in those terms, but that's usually why somebody draws back. If you're trying to pour too
Yeah.
much into them, or, so that's why we're designed. We have all this energy. We're designed to respond because based on what we are noticing people are telling us they're ready for. That's why we're
Mm.
also designed to ask a lot of questions. So I'm getting this. Is that correct? Or I'm
So
picking
true.
this up. Am I correct in that? Always, and because the other thing about waiting to respond is we have to actually ask the questions to conclude whether what we're picking up is really what's going on. Right? So it's like, oh, I'm noticing this, well, then I'm just going to initiate. No, we need to clarify. How many times do we think, again, it's our perspective. We think we're getting all the signals and signs. And then we go to, and then, we're like, ooh, I guess I read that wrong. Exactly. So, this is the beauty. It's like, and it puts the responsibility back in our hands. It's like when we go through life and we're just like, well, I don't know. It's so much uncertainty, like we started talking about. And
Right.
we're just kind of trying to position ourselves to the uncertainty, as opposed to looking at how we're designed and understanding from an energetic level what that means. Like for me in my business, because as a generator, I'm not designed to go out and make things happen. I'm designed
Mm.
to listen to what the world needs and respond based on what I choose to put my energy into, where my value is, where my passions are, where my purpose is, where my skill sets are. All those things
Right.
I get to determine with discernment,
Mm.
right? But I'm always in the receiving end of things, not the
Yes.
initiating. I don't play offense. I was designed for defense, but defense in the sense of I work with what comes to me.
Correct.
Right. So
Correct.
if I get a business coach telling me, you got to go out there and you got to put this on LinkedIn and you got to put this on, Facebook, and you got to pull the people in using these things, every single time it'll be a waste of money for me. And do you know 70%
Mm.
of us are generators? So all this marketing stuff that we're being taught to go and do, it is probably working against your design if it's not working. So it's really
Mm.
important to
Mm.
understand this. This is beyond personality. This is beyond behavior. Personality and behavior have to do with how we're designed and how that meets the world at large, right? So, if we're designed a certain way and we go out and meet the world and we don't know how we're designed and we keep hitting blocks, that creates behavior and personality. So it comes later. The design comes way before. So it's when we're looking at core principles, in
Uh-huh.
core, if we really want to get to the core of why we do what we do, it's really important to know that.
Mm. So Tracy, I have a question. So I am a. This is a question from. I'm asking for a friend.
Uh,
So I am a generator, but I'm in not but, and I'm in a marketing business because generators you aren't in a silo of certain businesses. You're just across the spectrum of multiple different things, right?
That's right.
So I'm a
That's right.
generator, and I have a bit. So the questions are just pouring in my head. Is a generator an introvert? Did I? Is
Not
he an
necessarily.
introvert? Not necessarily.
Yeah,
Okay,
it has
so
nothing
what?
to do with it. And yeah. Mm-mm.
Okay, good. So then that puts me to the next one, where we aren't the ones to go and get the business per se. People are attracted. There are there's an attraction for what I have. So how as a business owner generator, how do I go and get business? In fact, how do you get business? Let's do that, because some people are listening and saying,
Yeah. They're
she
like,
just
okay,
told me
how does
not.
that work?
Yes.
Right. Because
Yep.
we have all been conditioned to be manifestors to go
Uh-huh.
out and initiate, make it happen, right? The Nike slogan, just do it.
Gotcha.
Like all of us have
Do it.
been conditioned to think that that's how we're all supposed to do that. And if you happen to be a manifester, great. It's within your design, so go do it. The only thing about
Correct.
that too is people who are manifestors, even though they're initiators, if they don't ask first, this is where it goes back. All of us are supposed to have reverence for the ask, right?
Mm,
Like you don't
mm,
go and initiate. It's like, do you want, do you want this market? Are you ready for this? So you do market research, you do
correct.
polls, you do whatever to like determine whether
Correct.
people are ready. But for me, I'll give you an example. So last year, I had a client come to me and say, "Have you ever thought about doing a visionary mastermind?" And I was like, I hadn't
Hmm.
thought about that. Tell me more. Tell me more about
Hmm.
what you're feeling you need. And so he did. And I created a group. And immediately, I didn't even have to really market it. We had the people for it. So we did it. It was successful. It was
Yes.
awesome. I decided I was going to run it again. And again, it went against my design because I wasn't thinking about it as much at that point. And I'm like, and I marketed, I
Uh-huh.
paid money on it, and I sent it. There was zero interest. Zero. All that money, time, effort to try to initiate. And that's just an example of my
Hmm.
entire life. Anytime I've gone out, like I'm gonna say chasing, because it's not chasing, it's offering, it's inviting, but it's
Correct.
initiating.
Yeah.
Nobody came to me this year and said, "Hey, you got that mastermind going?" In which case I could respond by saying, "I do." And then there would be that it's the key in the lock that I need for something to be successful,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
On the other side, that didn't work out. So here I'm like, oh, I have all this extra time that I had initially thought I was going to put into this mastermind. And a client came to me and she said, she's in a leadership, she's a corporate leader woman.
Mhm.
And she's like, I really want to find a community of women who have had the experiences that I've had. I just feel as a woman personally, I really want that right now. I want some sort of
Mhm.
executive women's group that I can just have as a community of like-minded women, all going through the same kind of thing. And she says, I keep looking, and she says, I have this. She sent me this link. She goes, what do you think? So I did some research. I'm like, well, it looks to me like this is actually more up and coming female leaders. So if you're looking at more established women like you, I said, why don't we make one? We could just create a group. Within 48 hours, I had so much interest. All I had to do was like just start, who do I know that's in those fields, and ask them, and they're like, oh my God, this is, I had a couple women come back and go, I was just talking to my friend about this and thought, if I don't find a group, I'm going to start one. And I don't really have the time to do that.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
So now that
Wow.
time and effort that I would have been putting into something that I thought, well, it went well the first time, I'll just do it again. Not what my band of people needed. It came to me. It came to me through a question. It came through a need,
Oof.
and I responded.
Isn't that what business is? Providing for a need. And and
Yes.
and and oh my goodness. Wow. You know, so I was closing my eyes. What I was doing was I was letting it saturate. But then I said, if I close my eyes, that's not a good ethics on, but that's how I receive and just let it go into my ROM, my read only memory and stick, right? As you were saying it, that that removes the burden of business individuals who are generators. It's not saying that you're not creative, you're not creating, you are. You have your antenna up, you have you're waiting, you have prepared, and then the request comes. For example, a designer who's designing a generator, and somebody says, do you have any bags in this season for summer, for upcoming summer, or any prints? And then you go, really? Because remember, I think we said we were talking when we speak on in this sandbox. Most people who come on and are listening, there's a similar undercurrent going on in their lives, even if it's one person or two or three or four who would come on and listen, that identical thing is going on in their lives. So when somebody comes to you in your business and say, da 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 da, I'm looking for like-minded women within your circle, there are like-minded individuals as a subset in there who are putting that request out. And that person is the one who just came and said, hey, we are, and they're not saying we are, but they're saying we are looking for you to go and do it. And you're like, ah, I can do it. So, business people out there, generators out there, we've just told you, hey, quit, quit, quit trying, because every single ad, 10 ways to grow your business, 5 ways, 3 tricks. And the 3 tricks are: one, take your money; two, take your money; three, take your money, because it doesn't work for you. And those of you who go to every single seminar of, I'm gonna improve my business, and I had a client who she spent money on every single seminar that would come to North Carolina. And then I just looked at her and said, what have you learned from those seminars? She's like, there's so much. I say, yeah. I say, you know why there's so much? Because you already know what you need to do. And all you need is to trust yourself and do it. So,
That's it.
eavesdroppers, trust yourself. Just trust yourself and do it. Tracy, go
Yeah.
back.
Well, I mean, and it takes a lot of, like, I was, this client that I was talking to yesterday, the one that had the books that she was reading, I'm walking her through a process of, what I describe in my book, which, by the way, my book, a lot of people kept saying, write a book, you need to write a book, you're a great writer. All my writing has ever been in response to what I hear from other people.
There you
Always. I
go.
don't just sit there and get an idea like, ooh, I'm going to write about this. It's always response. That's why people are like, God, I feel like you're speaking to me. Oh my God, the timeliness of this. Everybody who reads my book is like, this could not have come at a better time. I'm like, yeah, because if I tried to do it based on what people have told me, you're a coach, you need to have a book. You need to have multiple books. When is your next book? Like, stop telling me what to do. I have to
My
wait to
goodness.
respond to when I hear the call. Then I'll
Mm,
write the other book. And you know what?
mm.
It is in the making, because I'm actually writing a book with a colleague of mine right now.
There you
So
go. There you
the
go.
second one will be to come. But that was a response because he
Wow.
read my book. He's ex-military. He's in this place in his life. He's newly co-founded a company, and he's like, it ignited me. Your book
Yeah.
ignited me. It woke me up, and it stimulated all these ideas and all of this. And as he was talking, I could respond to what he was sharing. Right. I,
Yes.
I was like, oh, that just gave what you just said. It just gave me an idea. And then I shared that. And then what I shared with him gave him an idea, because he's also a generator. So we just
Correct.
like, and we've been taking notes on what we've been batting back and forth, and it's becoming something.
Yes.
It's really turning into something where we both feel at a gut level the timing is right.
Wow.
And because it's not about us, it's about what we've observed, it's about what people have said to us, it's about what people have asked for. And so therefore we're literally utilizing, it's like taking a bunch of polls, right? Like, what do y'all
Hmm.
need? And do we have the
Yes.
capacity in our experiences, in our skill sets, in our desires and our passions to create what you need, right?
Mm.
To develop something that will meet that need, because that's what we were created, that's what we we're designed for. So anyway, that piece is really exciting. But I really believe that, if people don't always understand, because we've been so deeply conditioned. So I would just
Yeah.
say, if you don't know how to trust yourself, reach out to somebody. I mean, if something resonates in what I'm saying, reach out to me. I'm happy to share resources. I'm not looking,
Yes.
to just make everybody into a client. If you want to
Mm.
work with me and it's a match, great. Otherwise, let me offer you resources. I think
Yeah.
that's the key piece, is that really opens, so vision without action is a dream. I thought that too, Jeff. when you were talking about your friend who went to all of the different events, paid for all this money, is like, it's not
Uh-huh.
just what you learned, it's like what action have you been able to put to the things you've learned?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
how applicable is this? And when you apply
Mhm.
it, is it actually working? Do you have to work really
Mm.
hard? Because the other thing about being in your design is it's not hard. It doesn't mean you don't have to apply
Ah.
yourself, but it
Ooh.
doesn't feel like an uphill battle. Like, ugh, like lately, I have not wanted to go on LinkedIn. I go on LinkedIn because I have things to share, but I have not wanted to go there. It feels like I don't know to me, because I just
Mhm.
have been not getting enough juice that I can respond to. There's just too much
Yes.
dead silence, even though there's a lot of people talking. And so I just don't bother. It's
Mm.
like, I'm not going to pour my energy into that because it could be better spent doing things that I
Mm.
am feeling drawn to, and I am getting that, invitation to engage with.
Correct. You said something when you're in design, in your design, and I'll give you a chance to explain that, but I want to just take it and explain what I understand it to be, the
Yeah, okay.
context, right? Um, for me, when I heard you say in design, when you're in your element, when you are executing what you were made for, when you are, and then in the process, when you're in the process of creating what you're made for. So as Jeff said, when you have the vision of it, and you are now actuating it, right? You're ideating and doing things. So in your design, when you are sitting and you're ready to make that move, that either one, the request has come from others, right? Or that innate, that gut feeling that there's a need for me to birth something now. And then you go into that mode of doing. So what's in design for you?
So in design, I mean, you just described so much of it. And and what I always love about human design is I told people, I mean, I learned so much about myself, but not just based on what I've been told in other types of
Mm,
assessments, which does resonate. All that stuff is fun because it resonates. Like, oh yeah, that sounds like me. It's the same thing as looking at my birth chart, like it's like, yeah, that resonates. But it really gives us, kind of reminds me of the analogy I always use about Superman. If Superman didn't know what superpowers he had, in other words, if he didn't know he could
mm,
bend still and fly, for example,
mm,
he wouldn't be able to intentionally apply those
mm.
gifts to helping people, to being in the world, to creating, right? So we already have it. Our design is we're always doing what we were designed to do, but we're most of the time going back to your comment about being in the bathroom and taking that moment while you were down on the ground to really assess maybe the purpose of why you were called there. Not just to
Yes,
pick up the roll on, but
correct.
maybe for other things, is to really pay attention, but to know intentionally. And that's what I
Wow.
loved it, because when I got into it, it was like, well, shoot, this is going to help me coach people so much more effectively. I'm not coaching them
Yes.
based on my design. I'm coaching them based on
Yeah,
their design. And
correct.
I could estimate, I can guesstimate because I'm really
Hmm.
good at reading people. But why? Why not just know? Like, I mean, it isn't about me being like, oh, I was right. Oh, look how good I am
Correct.
at reading people. It's like, just tell me so that I can know and shortcut this baby. And
Yes.
but it's not just about me knowing, it's access for everybody to know what that is. But then if they don't know what that means, because the one thing I'll say is if you just go on any of these free charts and get your design, you're going to get a body chart and your design, and you're not, it's going to be like when you get the blood test from the doctor. It's like, what does this mean? Great. I have my numbers, but I don't know what any of this means. You need the doctor to translate it for
Yeah,
you.
sure.
That's how human design is. So you actually have to find
Yes.
someone who can translate. And
Mm,
I'm really
mm.
working hard on learning how, translate people's designs so that, I can give them that power to know what they're here for, or at least how they're
Yes.
designed to show up, so that it's not so hard. I mean, some of my favorite stuff, the archetypal part of human design is what's called profile.
Hmm.
That's kind of the how we show up in the world. And it really is amazing. And if we work against our design because of our conditioning, it becomes a miserable existence. Like we're like, why does everybody have all the success and I can't seem to? Because we don't understand that we're not operating. It would be like a fish going, why can't I walk on land? Instead of swimming
Yes,
beautifully in the environment that they were designed to be in.
correct,
But we
correct.
so much, that's what imposter syndrome is and all this stuff. It's like none of that would exist if we understood
Mm,
better what our design is.
yeah, yeah. Jeff goes to say, momentum is important. Ever watch a sport and the team can win? Once they win one, then they go on to win 10 in a row, right? Many people give up right before momentum kicks in. Once it does, it takes less energy to accomplish things. Who's that guy?
Woo! That's my
That's that.
hubby.
Oh no! I
He's
heard you
super
go.
smart
Hey,
that way.
hey, Jeff. Hey, Jeff. But no, I mean, so true, so true. Uh,
Yeah, so true.
and but in tying that to what you were saying, as you begin to discover yourself, your purpose, and who, if you're doing it or someone else is helping you, as you said, someone can help you understand your design. There's a certain place that it will get you, and once you understand the semantics and the syntax in that flow, you can then, because your coaching is not everlasting. Your coaching is for a period of time to teach them how to observe and see those markers, see those ticks, so that when they see those ticks, they're able to gather and then gather them and execute. Momentum. That's Jeff. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Momentum. I was about to say, no, I'm going to send you a book written by Tracy Phillips, but you already have one. But
Trying to get rid of these
but
extra
yo,
books that he's been holding on to.
but Tracy, we've come to 4 more minutes on this here. We've talked about the knowing and the unknown. We talked about the economics of energy. We spoke about the momentum. I think we talked about that. We talked
We
about the
talked about momentum.
design. Yeah, design. In design. Wrap it up for us, sis.
I think it's something about designed for the economics of energy, or the energy
Mm,
economics, designed for the energy economic, or just the economics of energy is a
yeah,
great title, because I think it's thought provoking. We're like, wow, what's that? Because we
yeah,
always think in terms of money and time, but we
correct.
don't think in terms of energy, which everything is.
Wow.
And we need to start with the core. So I think that that's a great title,
So,
because
so
how much
Tracy,
money we make and how much money we have and how much we have to be grateful for all has to do with how well we utilize our energy.
I think we're building a momentum here to start telling people when, so, if you're opening, starting a company, oh my goodness, okay, 3 minutes. If we're starting a company and X has the money, Y has the idea. So what we're saying here is Z needs to come with the energy that understands this, and that energy, the person who has the resource of energy, who may not be the person with the idea or the person with the funding, uh, Mr. Energy comes in there and pours that. How are we going to monetize generators? Ooh, wow.
We'll monetize all of us, because there's no one particular, like we're the worker bees, so to speak, in
Uh
human design.
huh.
Generators are the ones that have the goods, we have the tools, we have the materials, we have what you need to utilize to build
Correct.
the
Yeah.
stuff, right? And what my favorite thing is to do is, when I look at partnerships, is to run their human design charts first, because
Hmm.
how they show up, like it's kind of like right butts, right seats, right, but like, so that organizational concept of like you need to get the right people in the right seats
In the
and the
right
right
place.
butts.
Yep.
It's the same thing,
Yes.
but from a deeper level of energy. It's not just their personal characteristics and personality and behaviors. It's how are they designed to be at their best. And so I love looking at that, of course, org charts too. It's like this person, like we got to run their designs, because part of them showing up and learning how to work with each other is to know how they're energetically meant to work together.
Correct.
And they
Correct.
probably are treating it's like, again, a fish trying to be a land creature, and it's just not working and they can't figure out why. And they think, oh, it's other dynamics. And it could just be that they're operating
Mm,
out of their design. So
yes.
yeah, we like to check that box right away. So it's become a bit of a passion lately for me. Like I'm thinking in terms of like, I gotta run your design chart, find out. But because it just really helps.
Mm. Oh my goodness. Has it been another hour? To
Yeah.
you who have sat here the entire hour, thank you. Thank you so much for sitting with us. We truly appreciate it. For those who will be doing hashtag replay, please give your comments. We come back and we look at it and we comment back. And we say thank you for spending time with us. You could have spent this somewhere else, but you chose to do it. Traci, always my pleasure sitting across from you here, though far away.
Like my friend, likewise. And share and subscribe, people. Share and subscribe because we want to be able to share. If you found any value in this at all, we're relying on you because we're generators. We can't go out there and push this stuff out there.
That is so true. That is so true.
We can only respond to what people tell us. So we need your input. We need your feedback, and we need you to help us share this with people if you found it to be valuable. So thank you for being with us.
Bye bye.
Bye.